We're back again. Last time we were here, we talked about Dean Ambrose, John Moxley. A lot of people like to call him. Shout out to Dean Ambrose, John Moxley.
Stop
we see what you're doing. What I do? All right. So it's Candid Mat Talk. You got me. I'm Trey D, King Trey to the D on social media. You can also follow me at We Love Wrestling, We LUV Wrestling. I'm here today with Nicole from Down for the Count. You can follow their social media on Twitter at Down for the Count 19 and on Instagram D4TC _ podcast. Yep. And then we got the man Black Wrestling Alliance. You can follow him and see him everywhere over social media at Black Wrestling Alliance.
He's literally worldwide.
Correct.
We're international.
International.
I
Pitbull ain't got shit on him.
I started categorizing people, like I'm in NXT, he the WWE, so you know what I'm saying? We got him doing this. But for real. Shout out to John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to move from him. We're going to talk about the architect, the Messiah, the Father, the man who is back to lead SmackDown to the promised land. Let him be your leader. We're going to talk about Seth Rollins. Unshield another shield. Who want to start first?
Ooh, I'll jump in. I'm gonna start at NXT. When he became the first ever NXT champion.
Oh,
yeah. Changed the game. What was the match against Jinder Mahal? Wasn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
it was Jinder Mahal.
Don't hinder gender. They've been hindering gender for a while.
Nah, man. Against Jinder Mahal. Wow. Lost it to Big E, which was amazing for Big E, of course.
Shut up.
Then the game changed, man. 3 guys turned up. Took out, was it John Cena? It's the Shield. And I think very quickly we kind of realized that Seth was the star. Not necessarily, it wasn't obvious he was like the leader necessarily. But I think it was quite obvious he was the star or was going to be the star of the 3. And then obviously the famous twist about 2 years later. Seth turns on his brothers and joins with Triple H. And then we saw heel Seth. And I think that's when it really changed and people really got behind the man that is Seth Rollins. Yeah. So for me, Seth was always the guy out of the 3. Ambrose could talk. Of course, Reigns was the guy with, the big guy. Didn't talk much at all in those first few years of the Shield, but Seth was kind of a bit of the all-rounder, had the look, had the skills. He was the one doing the crazy stuff. Seth was always standout. Always stand out.
Cole, how you feel about that?
Well, I'm gonna take it back to Ring of Honor.
Ooh.
Where he was formerly known as Tyler Black, he became the Ring of Honor World Champion, and he held it for over 300 days, close to a year, until he eventually lost it, then made his way up to FCW and then NXT, of what you covered. But I'm going to start off also on his face turn after him coming back after his surgery, his bout with terrorizing Triple H. He was literally like, you ain't going to get no sleep until you find me. And that's what he did. He went to Triple H's house, his real house, NXT. showed up, caused chaos on his own show, told that motherfucker to fight me, and he had one of his best gears. No, his best gear was that all white gear.
Tyler Black 200 10 days.
Oh, that's it? I thought it was longer than that.
That is all. One
really?
title reign.
It
Yes.
seemed like it was longer than that. But anyways, Seth has always, I think we know, like, Seth is in his wheelhouse as a heel. And I think he knows that. But he's also very good at being a believable, I don't necessarily want to call him a baby face, but a face for a certain amount of time. He has a time limit for that before fans start getting fickle and turning on him. But that's a whole nother conversation. Terry, you want to?
One talked about NXT. You talked about Ring of Honor. Talk about the heel turn that Adrian mentioned that broke my heart. I had forgot about that. I was front row when he did that.
Wow.
The Shield was on a streak. They was going against I think it was Evolution. You know, back-to-back pay-per-views. Before that, I think they had their spats with the Wyatt family. You can see Seth get into that leadership role. And then when he did make the heel turn, it broke my heart because I had bought a Shield shirt that night. I was like, we in this thing, you know what I'm saying? We all type of Shield and all this, you know what I'm saying? And I wish I had the video because my face was like, I'm gonna put the video in the video. So I'm like, man, but the run he did, what solidified it for me was that WrestleMania in Santa Ana, or where was it at?
I don't remember where they were at.
But
that long ass runaway, they made him run down.
He ran down. I remember it. It was shocking. First time a cast-in happened like the way he did. And, you know, as far as his heel run when he went with the Authority and everything, it was cool, but it was too many people in there that he had to play off. I love to laugh when he when he put that in there, but you know what I'm saying? I like the new incarnation of him the most. The Messiah, you know, not the storylines, but I like the Messiah gimmick that he's doing. How do y'all feel about the evolution that Seth Rollins has done? Because he's changed his character maybe 4 or 5 times.
I think it's always made sense. He seems to have done it at the right time. Sometimes maybe a little bit too late, but most of the time he brings it around in a good time. You know, as you said, we had the Shield, then he became kind of like the leader of the Shield. The stuff with Triple H at first kind of was a bit confusing because it was kind of in between Randy Orton as well, and you didn't quite know what was going on. But once he came back and did the whole thing, the Kingslayer, all of that stuff, that's when it really changed. And then the Messiah thing I thought was absolute genius. Genius. The storylines weren't the greatest. The whole thing with Rey Mysterio carried on for way too long.
My gosh.
I think it got to a point where it got ridiculous. But then I think mainly because we saw Dominic Mysterio kind of come through, it kind of gave that whole thing a little bit more substance again. But in general, it wasn't a storyline that necessarily needed to carry on for so long. He's disappeared. He's come back. I've not necessarily seen a lot of SmackDown since he's come back, so I can't really comment exactly how it is. But I did like that little the letter that they posted on social media last week, where he was complaining about the rest of his the rest of the superstars in the back and how he's not respected and all that kind of stuff. And I thought again, like that was perfect for the character and to develop the character, or to, I guess bring back the character. I don't know if he's much different, but it's going to be interesting to see now that he has new storylines to begin, where it's going to go. But I just think the whole character is just perfect.
what he when he came back, what was hilarious on SmackDown, he came out and he brings you in. I'm a new father, and it gives me a new outlook. And what it set me up to do is give me a new insight. I should lead you all. And he went back to the same person.
Yeah.
Everybody leaves out, and then Seth Rollins, as he does, because the sorrow stays out, and then leaves at the end. He beats him up. Yeah. So he went on the disrespect thing, and he wrote the letter. I am interested to see what the next thing is, because right now it's like he's just in the groove, and because he's is he a thesis? Or I don't want to say it, and it's not true. I don't know.
An atheist?
Yeah, atheist.
Yeah, no, he is atheist.
Okay. So it like fits into, false prophesizing. You know what I'm saying? So, that's how I dig him. I don't have too many issues with him.
My thing was especially before, like when he was about to have his Mania match, and for him being atheist, I said, the one thing I want him to do, I said, you have to go complete balls to the walls, offend people with this. If you really want to go with this Messiah, I mean, like full iconography. I was like, I wanted, when he had his Mania, obviously we couldn't because of COVID, but they could do it this year because they're in Florida. Florida doesn't have rules, and COVID apparently doesn't exist down there. I said, I want a full choir singing. Like, I want a full on Catholic church service with Seth Rollins coming down like the Messiah he is, and just really push buttons. That's the only thing I wish he would do a little bit different with the Messiah character. I say, and I'm a Christian, I say, I personally want to be offended. That's how far I want you to go. I want you to go so far I'm offended.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel exactly the same. That's the joke.
Yeah. I want to be
exactly
offended.
the same.
I don't watch Reckless, like, and this is coming from us growing up in the Attitude Era. Like, we're all about being disrespected and offended.
Vince McMahon faced God on a pay-per-view.
Right. Why aren't we doing that anymore?
God retired already. He's
yeah, guy was like, I can't be out here like that. I'm not putting nobody over like this.
God put over Vince's crazy ass, and he was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm good on this.
What do you think of the argument that happened about 2 years ago with the whole thing of who's the best wrestler in the world? Is it Seth? Is it Kenny Omega? Does Seth even have a leg to stand on because he works in WWE? All that kind of thing. Like, what do you think about all of that?
I hate when people do that. Oh, but they work in WWE. Okay, so I will say this: if you like watching WWE product, if you go into the storylines and you break it down like that, I'm not with it. But then when I actually sit and watch the wrestling, isn't that? These guys are crisp. They are on it. When you hear people complain about it, they not talking about, the wrestling. They talking about outcomes of what happened at how the match ended, what they're doing, the way a storyline goes and everything. But the actual wrestling and the athletic, Steph had a big foot to stand on. He could have he was standing on a lot of stuff. And then people get mad when they go out here and they talk and feel they are the best. Like, why are you mad that he thinks he's the best? Oh, it's okay, but Kenny Omega, blah, blah. I mean, Kenny Omega has a following right now that whatever he do is golden. So,
you throw shit on a homeless person and they think that's the most
oh my God,
thing
you
in the
see
world.
what Kenny did? Oh, he said, like, come on, bro. Bro, come on.
And this is someone I don't like Kenny when he's not a heel. I only like Kenny when he's a heel, specifically a cleaner. Actually, no, I only like Kenny specifically as a cleaner. That's the only time I will fix my mouth or my fingers to support him. Any other iteration of Kenny Omega, I want nothing to do with. I think it's the worst thing in the world.
So,
but
go ahead.
But I can't acknowledge that he is one of the best wrestlers in the world. Do I necessarily like him that much? Not really. But he is talented, and I do recognize his talents. I cannot say that for Will Ospreay. I think he is the most overrated wrestler in the past 10 years. Period.
Do you like Seth as a heel or a baby face? Which one's better for Seth?
I like him as a heel, but I really like when he's like that fired up baby face. Like he really has a mission and he has something that he has to prove not only to himself but to the fans as well. Like I think that is the best version of himself, period. But I'm a sucker for him as a heel because I think what he does, and not a lot of people, and this is sort of becoming a lost art within itself in general. He's taking what people say about him and the negatives and what they don't like about him and what they know about him, and he is taking that and making it his character and playing into it. Be like, you want me to be this, you think I'm that, you think I'm this, okay, well, I'm gonna be this.
And that's kind of how the whole the whole turn just before he became the Messiah started as well, because it was obviously around this whole same time when the argument was who's better, Kenny or Seth, and obviously he said he's the best and all that kind of stuff, and Will Ospreay came at him and whoever else came at him and all the rest of it. But for me, when it comes to that argument, to even be considered and still in the WWE, especially with the restrictions that they have, or the so-called restrictions that they have, and all these things that are against them, people just straight away, saying that it's the worst product on the planet and all that kind of stuff. To then still be considered is a testament to itself, because just as we saw with the dreaded list that came out today, you're already on the back foot if you're in that company. For most, as we would say, diehard fans or mature fans or whatever. So, if you took Seth out of WWE and put him in New Japan or AEW, and all these other places that the fanboys are watching, he'd still hold his own. He'd still be one of the best. It wouldn't. Yeah. He wouldn't end up on the mid card. You know what I mean? It's not that serious.
Period. Like, for example, okay, you take Seth Rollins out of the E and you put him somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't he shoot to the top? I mean, look at what Dean Ambrose, John Moxley has done. So you take Seth Rollins out. I mean, come on, he's going to the top wherever he's going. So it's just that it weighs them down because they're in WWE. Once they leave WWE, then it's like, oh my, the best thing ever. I've always been a fan.
You haven't.
Shout out to the Big Show, the large production. Fans. Shout out to all the new Paul White fans who's been fans for 20 years and I always loved them.
You know what? And this is no shade to Big Show. Like, I just feel I've never felt more indifferent about any type of wrestling or news in my entire life. When I say I rolled my ass back to sleep when I saw that, I really did. Like, it did not move me. It did not touch my spirit. Nothing. I don't understand the big hype.
I only brought that up because, you're talking about if you take Seth Rollins out the E and you put him anywhere else, why he's going to still be at the top of the card. Mm-hmm. But all the hate that it's because he's in the E now. He got some legitimate gripes that we're gonna get into in a second, but I mean, shout out to Paul White, man, because I've seen people writing testaments of how for 20 years they've always loved him and this and that, and no one remembers 2-4 years ago, please retire and everything, when he was in a match with Seth Rollins. They was chanting all this. So yeah, I mean, clear off your goggles, people. Seth Rollins is one of the best in the world. In 2018,
for sure.
He had a big platform to stand on to say he was the best in the world.
By far, without question. And to touch on the whole thing with Paul White, I was glad when I heard he had a commentator role. So I'm like, that's the best. That's a good place for him. He's got exactly. He's got the personality and all the rest of it. Let's forget the wrestling. I've heard that he could wrestle. Or he might end up wrestling.
He still got a lot left in the tank.
He could still go. Whether he needs to is another thing.
That was his words. I still got a lot left in my tank.
They always say that. Kurt Angle said that. Okay.
Stop it. We're not doing Angle like that.
No.
You know what? I was happy. I was ready for it. But when it happened, I was like, okay. But with Paul White, it was weird. The fact that no one cared about him. Second that news came out, all of a sudden we want to care. If it wasn't for the fact that I actually saw the news on AEW's Instagram itself, wherever I saw, I would have thought it was just one of those, someone's just throwing something together and put it out as a joke, and we'll see what happens and whatever. But it is what it is. Yeah, it's just weird, very weird.
He does nothing for me. So legitimate gripes against Seth Rollins. So let's get into it. Do you? Because he's been in the ring and some people come up injured, and he gets passes on those and everything from a lot of people, but some people give him gripe about it. How do you feel about that? Is he someone you got to watch for, or is it just part of the match flow? Sometimes things happen and it's all good. How you think?
For me, there are certain people who wrestle a certain way, and that comes with higher risk than others. It's not always down to the person being an unsafe wrestler. It's just a more riskier style. Seth is that guy. Finn Balor would be that guy. And there's a few others who have a very, I guess, similar in terms of like an all-round but very fast-paced type of style. But it's gonna come with all of that. For him to get a pass, maybe not necessarily, but people who do have a gripe need to understand that at the end of the day, it's a risky style, and it's gonna come with injuries and stuff like that. But there's people that are going into the ring with him know that themselves. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. They know what they're getting into, the possibilities of what could happen, and it's part of the risk of the job. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. I wouldn't necessarily call him unsafe. I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't know how exactly many times it's happened, but I guess sometimes 3-4 times, and people are like, "He's unsafe." That's the end of it. But it happens.
Oh, we got Sting, Finn Balor, Balor. I feel like it's one more person. Don't quote me on that.
That's the only two I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Definitely was someone else. I can't remember who it is though. I was upset by the Sting thing, I must say, but I didn't hold it against Seth.
Sting, look, he shouldn't have been in that ring in the first place, to be honest, in my opinion.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been in the ring?
Yeah. You know, I'm all for old people retiring when they should. A lot of them in his class of wrestlers don't know how to retire when they should. And that's why their bodies are all fucked up. And that's why they're going to be even more messed up as older that they get. They're going to be DDP yoga can't fix everything.
I forgot.
John, that's what it is. He messed up. He punched his nose. He had to get surgery.
Oh yeah, John Cena. Oh yeah. No, that was a good one. No, that was almost like it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, I feel like so many people's noses get busted wrestling. I feel like that shouldn't even count.
That was.
Okay, I give you that.
Yeah, I think with that. No, I think that one. I mean, luckily it played massively into the whole storyline and everything that happened. Mm-hmm. It was a thing where obviously, you know, we were all at that point where John Cena was getting booed for everything that he did, even as a face. So yeah, I just think that one just worked out. That one just worked out how it was supposed to, really. The other two, especially with Balor, the worst timing ever. And for me, with Sting, it was more so. Unfortunately, you know, it took forever for him to get to WWE. So it was a shame that it ended as quickly as it did, or you know, didn't come with more. So, for example, you know, Undertaker versus Sting didn't get to happen, and that was the one thing that we were waiting for our whole wrestling lives.
We was never gonna get that. Now looking back on it, I don't think we ever was gonna get that.
No, really? With the whole what do you call it? What do they call them again? The fake pre-recorded matches.
On the cinematic.
Cinematic. That's it. That's
You're not used to F word.
With the cinematic
before someone's
match,
like, "Oh, they're admitting it's fake."
No, that made it a possibility, but it was by then again still too late, I guess. In terms of how Sting saw, you know, his relationship with WWE or whatever else. So, you know,
no.
But yeah, that was that. What other things have people said about Seth?
It's mostly the injury thing. His attitude. People just don't like his personality. That's mostly a thing. I can't think of anything else. I feel like it's just those two. And then then people don't like how he's a company guy.
Yes. Oh, actually, you know what? That is something that I've not necessarily liked. I can't remember what the situation was, but he was defending something.
Oh, you talking about where Twitter snapped on him?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he basically was on Twitter tweeting, you know, how you big up the company you work for. And he said, we have the best wrestling in the world going right now. You know, each night people go out there and they put 100% in and they're doing a thing. And this is, I think, this was not last summer, but the summer of 2019, maybe. And it was on an uprise. It was like doing good. And people was like, no, you guys are not. You're not the best. They're doing good, this and that. And this is like that time frame before AEW is about to start up.
Yep.
So he could have made a case for, you know, the wrestling that they're doing. As he said, in America is like night in and night out. Everybody's out there busting their ass. What's this? Saying that right there. Every night in and night out. Well, every Friday night, motherfuckers is out there busting their ass. Friday night is the wrestling night on TV. If you trying to see something, hey, Friday, go to Friday. And Seth is only gonna add to that, but yeah, I mean that's the only thing they say about him. Oh, and real life issues he has with some wrestlers. I don't know if we want to touch on those or not.
Oh, let's go.
Are we talking about the United States champion issues?
That's one. I mean,
What
yeah,
are the other ones?
only thing I know about it is made some comments against the man's wife, and you know,
mother of his child.
Made some comments against Becky, and you know, Seth. Ever since that, Seth ain't been on him like that. You know, they did lock up at the Royal Rumble for a second, but
kicked his ass right out.
You can see how that went down. Ooh.
So what more? So what was actually happening? Who was it? What was going on?
Seth Rollins
missed something.
Matt Riddell.
Oh gosh, yes.
The real
I mean, Seth, he was like, y'all gotta move that motherfucker to Raw. I don't know what you thought this was. And sure enough, the next week, Riddle sure was on Raw.
Yep, that's true. I mean, Matt Riddle is another conversation altogether, man.
Oh my God, don't get me started. How everybody's.
So how do you feel about Seth Rollins stealing some of the thunder from the Shield when he turned? Because you know we talking about stealing stuff and everything.
Oh, stop it. I mean, if I don't what do you mean steal? Are you talking about stealing like the thunder or moves, or I'm just trying to get more of it?
He stole the title from Roman at Mania. You know, he stole people moments and everything, you know what I'm saying? He stole Dean Ambrose shot at, well, he needed to steal that. But I mean, yeah, his heel character, his dastardly ways. How you feel about him taking? He take.
I mean, the moment at WrestleMania is one of the greatest WrestleMania moments ever, in my opinion.
Don't do this.
Easily.
Not like this.
Easily.
Not like this, brother. Not like this.
It was out of nowhere. It happened the way it happened. It just was because it was at Mania. If he did it at any other pay-per-view, we wouldn't care.
No.
We wouldn't care. Nowhere near as much. No, we wouldn't care at all, actually. But yeah, it became one of the greatest moments. But with that said, he was always supposed to be the guy to take everyone else's thunder because he was always supposed to be the star out of the three. So it just makes wrestling sense, storyline wise, expectancy, who he is. Nicole just disappeared, and all of that. So, yeah, man. I'm all for it. As I said, it just makes sense. As you said as well, when he stole whatever from Dean Ambrose, yeah, take everything from him. Everything from him. I don't get it. But yeah, man, Seth is just that guy. Like, he's, you know, it also plays to the whole thing of him saying he's the best. People are getting upset. So when he's ready to do the heel thing, it's the easiest thing to pull on. Because all he does is take what is his. To put it plain, he just takes what is his.
True. One last shout out we're gonna give to him. We hope Nicole come back. I don't know what happened. But his outfit choices when we get to big pay-per-views, how he switches it up. I just love everything he does. Nicole says she liked the white outfit. I think I got one. The white. I appreciate that when it's like he go through his Power Ranger gimmicks. He had the Avengers outfit.
Yeah. Yep. The Thanos one.
Oh, yes.
That was the winner.
Shout out to, is it Makazi who makes this stuff?
I think it is. I think it is.
Why is that so off center?
Nicole, do you know
Nicole's
if Makazi makes Seth Rollins wardrobe outfit?
He does.
Shout out to Makazi.
Yeah, for sure. And even the Jon Snow.
Oh,
Jon Snow one as well.
And the Night King. Oh my good, yes.
That was a winner.
His gear is low key. What was the Bulls one? What was that? A Royal Rumble?
Bulls?
Oh, the red.
Yes.
Oh, that was.
I can't remember when it was.
That was I believe that was a Royal Rumble.
Yeah. But yeah, man, his gear is always on point. It's one of those things that, yeah, we see the likes of, Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, maybe about a year or so ago. Mustafa Ali kind of does it, but unfortunately for those three that I just mentioned, they're not main eventers, so it's not like you wait for their gear at Mania or at Royal Rumble or for the main event. Whereas obviously with Seth seems to be the only person on in the main event that you wait for that. You wait for what gear he's gonna have on. Sometimes it might be quite obvious what he's gonna do. So you just wait for the way he's gonna do it. Then sometimes it's like you have no idea whatsoever. And you're just like, oh, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? But yeah, when he came up with that all white.
Oh, and sometimes with his gear, Nicole, since you weren't here, I was showing the white gear.
I want that so bad. Give me that Funko. I don't even like Funkos all like that.
Sorry, that's my son's favorite one. Shout out to, like, sometimes this gear, it takes people a second, because I remember, I think it was the Thanos gear. Like,
yeah,
some people, like, the next day they was like, oh snap, it was Thanos. The boot was the gold, the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And, like, so sometimes they got to think about what these outfits are. But I really like what you're doing out here, Seth.
Funny that you mentioned it, 'cause I think quite a few people did Avengers, Infinity War gear around that time. It was like quite a few people. It was like him, Gargano, and it was like a couple other, and no, it was like one or two other people. I remember I was like, damn, did all y'all go see Avengers together? Like, what's going on?
They had to assemble, you feel me?
Trust me.
Texting each other. It's like, man, I'm about to get me some Thanos gear, man. It's like, word, me too. Someone else was like, I've already got this working on. The fuck?
Cedric's in the chat like, I'm gonna be Black Panther.
Hey.
And then here comes Ricochet. And here comes Ricochet. I'm gonna be Nightwing, and they're like, dude, that's not. That's the wrong.
That doesn't even work. What?
Hey. But yeah,
nice gear. It was nice gear, but you were like, huh?
Well, I think that's one of the things that I appreciate about Seth is his gear, and I feel like a lot of guys, like nowadays, don't really put a lot of emphasis on their gear like they should. Like, obviously, like, they look great and like they're out of ring stuff, but actually really taking thought and time into their gear is that's one of many things I appreciate about him.
Hold on.
What?
We gonna close out, but I got this. Why'd you say Nightwing for Ricochet?
You did. You don't remember that?
I do remember it, but why you had to say it?
I gotta shade Ricochet at least once a wants a sitting.
Oh my goodness. So let's put some shade over this conversation because Nicole's out of line. So what do you guys feel like is next for Seth Rollins? What else can he do? Because he just came back, so we about to see this run he going now. But like in the next year or two, what do you expect from Seth? Being a father and everything. Is he gonna be putting people over? Do you see championship aspirations for him? What do you think?
I don't know. He might. I don't know. I think he's done a lot more than you think he would in the short. Well, it's not really a short amount of time. He's been in a game at over 10 years now. I don't know. I think he needs one last really, really good face run, and I think I think that will be his cement. I think that's all he really needs to do, like one true baby face run.
I think it might be time to maybe start putting people over. It's a shame that it didn't necessarily pan out as big as it probably should have with Murphy. I think that should have been. It started off almost perfectly. I don't think it was executed or carried on as much as it needed to. With him coming back now, I believe he would have to, before the end of the year, and if Roman is still a champion, those two need to go at it at some point. Definitely. It's been a while. It's something that would, can still draw easily. I know we've not got crowds necessarily, but, it's going to create a hype. Definitely enough of a hype. Because we haven't seen it in a while. So, and obviously now with the head of the table and the Messiah, we've never seen that. So I'm like, I want to see how that one works. You know what I mean? That would be very interesting. But I think before we get to there, at the moment, we've seen the stuff with Cesaro, Daniel Bryan. Maybe that carries on for a little bit. It kind of would bring legitimacy, I guess, to Cesaro. Kind of adds to maybe Daniel Bryan's final run as well. And there's all these other possibilities on SmackDown at the moment that could happen, whether it be new talent, older talent, or more experienced talent. I don't think it really matters. It's just I think it's really now us seeing Seth on SmackDown because he's never been on SmackDown. So yeah, it's just kind of there's so many options, but it's not obvious which one to go down, and that's a good thing.
Shout out to the since talking about putting people over, Black and Brave Academy. We got Ben Carter on WWE NXT UK. Shout out to that. Not to even bash Seth, but to bash WWE social media. So when Seth was coming back, y'all put up a poster, a match card real quick, and then took it down like 30 minutes later. And it was like, oh, we can't give them this. It was going to be Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. And I remember it because I saw and I said, you came from WWE account. And I was like, oh, y'all going straight to this? Like you already put the Tribal Chief and the Messiah together like right back day one? And then 30 minutes later, it was like, we can't give him that yet. And y'all took it back. And then, he came out to doing the announcement and everything. So WWE social media, I posted it on my Instagram. Don't think we didn't see that. I remember that. And I see where y'all going. So you might put them together, then you might break them up. But, Seth already broke them up one time. So why would the Tribal Chief trust him? I mean, I'm just saying.
I'd love to see that dynamic. Right now.
Oh, it's coming. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
And Seth bigging up Roman out here in interviews. What's that? Before we leave out, because next time it's about Roman Reigns. Might be a sucker and succotash good time. We're not gonna be good guys. We're not gonna be bad guys. we're gonna be the guys to talk about Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying? Any final thoughts on Seth Rollins?
Oh my God, I'm over it. Give Seth his flowers. Y'all need to give Seth his flowers. I know y'all don't like to because y'all don't like him, but give that motherfucker his flowers. He deserves them.
Listen, man, I second that massively, man. I think Seth is, for his, his irritating stuff on Twitter, maybe, and him being very confident about who he is and how he sees himself. I understand that gets hate and whatnot, but I guess it's very similar to like a Sasha Banks, for example. When you're as good as you are, you can say it. You can say it. People are going to disagree. It happens, but at the end of the day, there's very little argument, or they have a strong point to in saying what they say. So for me, Seth is he really is that guy. He's as good as anyone. Whether we talk about him, in 5-10 years or so as like a legend in the same way as Triple H or Shawn Michaels or Stone Cold is maybe another thing. I don't necessarily know how that would go, but at the same time, definitely within this generation, the last 10 years, he's easily one of the best wrestlers that there's been. Easily.
I agree with that. Shout out to the Friday Night Messiah, doing your thing.
And it is Friday.
The last thing I wanted to say, sorry, before you say what you're saying, the last thing I wanted to say is I still want that jacket, that leather one with the fur around it. I want that jacket so bad. When you came,
it's on Amazon.
Is it? I need to find
it.
I'll
send you the link. No, it's literally on fucking Amazon.
I need to find it. I'm gonna start saving money for
it. I'll find it too. I'll find it again and I'll send it to you. But no, that's just on Amazon.
Oof, I need it. Trey, you go.
Hey, if you show, don't have the jacket, bro. I'm trying to be cool. Do not. You broke me. I was trying to be cool, but you broke me. No, do not. Okay, think about Daniel Bryan and the ecosystem and all that. Don't be fickle. Do not. Yeah, man. So to wrap up what we talked about here today, basically, Seth Rollins, you're not going to be good till you get out of WWE. You're being held down. You have to do better. Until you leave WWE.
Stop it.
You can't. Okay. We just like to unshield the shield. You know who's coming next time. Do it monthly, bi-weekly. Everybody's busy, Our new thing we say is we grown. We got things to do, but we come together to talk about this. So, I think this is a 4-part series, Roman Reigns, then we'll talk about, because we haven't really talked about, when we talk about them, the Shield overall. We just talk about what they do individually. But then, on our last one, we'll talk about the Shield overall and some of their classics. But, next time it's that guy who's the head of the table. That guy who he needs to feed his family. He has to feed his family. You know what I'm saying?
Those some big motherfuckers. I gotta eat.
Yeah. If you didn't watch the Yokozuna Icons, that's what Roman Reigns is on.
Yeah, man.
That's a great circle back to what he does, especially and if anyone watches it, Yokozuna was literally head of the table. He was making sure everybody eats, was making sure people had their lights turned on. No joke. He was taking care of the family. That's just wild, man.
That shit crazy.
R.I.P. to Yokozuna.
Yeah, man.
One of the GOATs.
So, with all that, before we get up out of here, Nicole, BWA Black Wrestling Alliance. Hey, Dazzle, let them know what y'all got coming up, man. You know, since this is coming out, we the first week of March that y'all watching this, you know what I'm saying? So let them know what y'all got coming out in March.
Go for it, Nicole.
Well, new episodes of Down for a Count coming out. Our newest one has Terry in it. We're also looking at getting a couple more guests on there, so watch out. You might be watching this. We might be reaching out to you soon. Trying to connect with more wrestling women within the wrestling media, specifically Black POC women, trying to make sure that we all get some shine. Also, because of that bum ass list that Meltzer put out, we're thinking about doing our own. And now, when I tell you everybody was hot about that. So any of our other podcasts that we're really friendly with, or any of like our pages that we're friendly with, we're probably going to be reaching out to you soon, and we're going to do our own list, because fuck that. So stay tuned for that.
2020, a list of 2020.
Oh yeah. Interesting. Speaking of lists and speaking of 2020, I was supposed to do something in February, but it hadn't happened, so I have to push it to March. So that will be the BWA Awards. So watch out for that in March. It will also, it will be on the new website. I have no idea what this new website is going to be on. Have on there for that yet, but it will definitely have the awards, so you can go on there and vote. But then also as well, just look out for me every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, with my guy, the WrestleManiac UK, on our Wrestle Extra show every single week, talking about all things Black wrestling and what's going on in the world of Black wrestling every week. So that is it, really.
Yo, you watching us on the YouTube, We Love Wrestling. Click subscribe, click like, go. Black Wrestling Alliance, just his YouTube is out there. Please click on that. He didn't say it, but the Jetpack 10, get on that. It's exclusively on YouTube now.
Yep.
Go check out, like Nicole said, I was on the latest episode of Down for the Count. I don't know what happened on that. That's why I just do spotlights. We got spotlights coming every Wednesday, Women on Wednesday. We got, and other than that, man, just look out for everything, support everything Black, support everything wrestling, support us. Tell somebody to come watch it. Put some comments down there and tell us everything about it. And I guess, like I always say, if I love wrestling and you love wrestling, then we love wrestling.
We love wrestling.
Hey, this is the head of the table. Come have a seat with us and eat.
Yeah, boy. Nice.
Oh, because it's too sweet for the culture.